The Silverwood courthouse buzzed with tension as Elijah Vance stood trial. An African-American man facing a system that had already made up its mind. Judge Alastair Finch, with his smug smile and withering gaze, presided from the bench like a king over a rigged game. Full name? The judge barked. Elijah Vance, came the calm reply. You know why you're here? Allegedly for shoplifting. But I didn't steal anything. The judge leaned back, smirking. We'll see about that. The prosecutor stood with calculated arrogance. We have surveillance footage. A man of similar build was seen leaving the corner mart after the theft. An eyewitness supports it. Elijah's lawyer, Mr. Harrison, rose. The video's blurry. The witness only saw someone running. No clear ID. The judge chuckled. We rely on evidence, counselor, not wishful thinking. Elijah's jaw tightened. I wasn't there. Of course. Let me guess. Racial profiling? Innocent mistake. Gasps rippled through the crowd. The prosecutor smiled smugly. Mr. Harrison looked worried. I request a clearer review of the footage, Harrison urged. Finch rolled his eyes. Dragging this out, are we? A judge is supposed to be impartial, Elijah said calmly. Finch sneered. And I am. Just not naive. The defense attorney leaned toward Elijah. Stay composed. We might crack this. The judge banged his gavel. No more delays. Play the video. A court officer played the footage. Blurry, shaky, someone ran from the store. There. Case closed, Finch said. Harrison leaned forward. Your Honor, the man's face isn't even visible. Minor details, Finch muttered. Details that could prove my client's innocence. Elijah pressed. The judge waved a hand. Pause it when his face shows. The video paused. A blurry figure turned slightly toward the camera.mr. Harrison smiled. That's not my client. The judge squinted. The smirk vanished. Murmurs swept the courtroom. For the first time, doubt crept into Judge Finch's eyes. Harrison stood calmly. That's clearly not Mr. Vance. The prosecutor frowned. There must be an explanation. This proves nothing, the judge muttered. Nothing, Elijah snapped. That's not me. The judge pounded the gavel. Silence. Harrison pushed forward. My client has a tattoo on his right arm. Zoom in. The image enlarged. No tattoo. Elijah spread his arms. Still think it's me? Finch rubbed his temple. There are differences, but nothing, Harrison cut in. He's been falsely accused. I demand his release. You don't dictate this courtroom, Finch snapped. I'm not letting this go, Elijah said firmly. You're looking at truth and denying it. Finch's face darkened. Do you have anything else? He asked the prosecutor. We may need time to review. Review what? Elijah interrupted. It's right there. The courtroom stirred. This court will not be turned into chaos. Finch shouted. Harrison stepped forward. Then why are you resisting the obvious? Is it because this truth threatens your control? Finch leaned in, voice icy. I decide what justice is in this room. And if you're wrong, Elijah challenged. Then let the higher courts decide. Harrison added. Finch's hands trembled slightly on the gavel. This evidence is enough to dismiss, Harrison began. You're overstepping, the judge barked at. Elijah's voice rose above the tension. Or are we stepping over your pride? The judge slammed the gavel again. You're trying to embarrass me in my courtroom? This isn't about you, Harrison said coldly. It's about a man nearly condemned over a hunch in a blurry video. The prosecutor stood. Your Honor, may I request a recess to examine? You may not. Finch snapped. Elijah laughed bitterly. So, this was never about evidence. You decided I was guilty the moment I walked in. Finch stood, red-faced. Enough. You're afraid of the truth, Harrison said. And I'm requesting judicial review. You won't get far, the judge warned. Then we'll take it all the way, Elijah said. Because I'm not leaving here branded a thief for something I didn't do. The judge opened his mouth to respond, but the doors at the back of the courtroom creaked open. A uniformed court officer walked briskly down the aisle, a manila envelope in hand. He whispered something into the clerk's ear, who in turn passed a message to Finch. Finch's face paled. He ripped open the envelope and scanned the contents. His hand trembled slightly as he read. Elijah watched him closely. Something wrong, Your Honor? The judge didn't answer. The courtroom was silent. Mr. Harrison leaned toward his client, whispering, "Whatever's in that file just might change everything." Judge Finch cleared his throat and adjusted his robe, but his voice cracked slightly. "There appears to be new evidence submitted by the district attorney's office." "What evidence?" Harrison asked. Finch hesitated. Elijah took a step forward. "Let's hear it." But before the judge could respond, the courtroom doors burst open again, this time with a voice shouting. The judge stiffened. "I will not allow my reputation to be questioned." Elijah smiled ironically. "No need to question it. You've already made it clear." The judge gritted his teeth. The prosecutor shifted in his seat. "Perhaps we should reconsider." The judge glared at him. "We don't need to reconsider anything." The courtroom murmured louder. Mr. Harrison looked at Elijah. "Don't worry, this isn't over yet." The judge leaned forward, furious. "Vance, if you continue with that attitude, I'll have you arrested for contempt." Elijah looked at him without fear. "For speaking the truth?" The judge banged the gavel again. "Enough." Mr. Harrison crossed his arms. "Are you nervous, Your Honor?" The judge looked at him with hatred. "Watch what you insinuate, attorney." Elijah smirked. "Looks like someone isn't used to being questioned." The judge turned red. "Enough." But before he could continue, a firm voice resonated through the courtroom. "I believe we've heard enough." Everyone turned. The judge paled. A woman in a dark suit advanced through the rows of benches. Her presence commanded respect, and her sharp gaze landed directly on the judge. "I am Judge Cassandra Hayes, supervisor of the Court of Appeals. We received a complaint about possible irregularities in this case, and after reviewing the evidence, I decided to attend personally." The judge stiffened. "Judge Hayes, this is highly unusual. As unusual as a judge ignoring clear evidence and keeping an innocent man detained." Her words were like a dagger. Elijah felt a wave of relief, but did not let down his guard. The prosecutor cleared his throat. "With all due respect, Your Honor," the judge was about to. Judge Hayes raised a hand. "I've heard everything. I don't need any more excuses." The judge tried to smile, but his discomfort was evident. "I'm sure this is all a misunderstanding." "The only misunderstanding here," Judge Hayes said in a cold tone, "is believing that a judge's power allows them to trample on justice." The courtroom erupted in murmurs. Mr. Harrison smiled with satisfaction. "Your Honor, I request that my client be immediately released and that the charges against him be dropped." Judge Hayes nodded. "Petition granted." Elijah closed his eyes for a moment, relieved. The judge clenched his fists. "But no buts." Judge Hayes looked at him sternly. "What will be allowed is an investigation into your conduct in this court." The color drained from the judge's face. The prosecutor sank into his seat. Elijah stepped forward. "Does that mean there will be consequences for him?" "Absolutely." Judge Hayes crossed her arms. "No judge is above the law." The judge tried to speak, but his voice caught in his throat. Mr. Harrison turned to Elijah. "You're free. You're an innocent man." Elijah let out a laugh, full of disbelief. "I already knew that. It just took the system to recognize it." Judge Hayes turned to him. "I deeply regret what happened. This should not have occurred." Elijah looked at her with gratitude. "Thank you for doing the right thing." Judge Hayes looked at the judge one last time. "I hope you remember this, because it will be the last time you sit on that bench." The judge lowered his gaze, defeated. The prosecutor sighed. "I think it's time for me to leave." Mr. Harrison smiled. "Good idea." The courtroom began to empty. Elijah looked around. "It's done." The attorney nodded. "It's done." Elijah exhaled. "Wow, I know." Mr. Harrison replied with a smile. Elijah turned to the judge. "Do you think this will really change anything?" She looked at him firmly. "Change begins when the truth isn't silenced." Elijah nodded slowly. "Then I'll never be silent again." Judge Hayes smiled slightly. "That's the spirit." Elijah walked out of the courthouse, feeling the sun on his face. He was a free man, but also someone who had learned an important lesson. Justice isn't automatic. You have to fight for it. If this story impacted you, if you believe the truth should come to light, subscribe to the channel, like and share this video. Because justice doesn't just happen in courtrooms. It happens when we all raise our voices.